Men, women, power, sexual dynamics, they're all woven together. And I want to tell you the story of my friend Kasia Urbaniak, who wrote the book Unbound, A Woman's Guide to Power. She was born in Poland and she had a lot of health challenges in her life and studied with Taoist nuns. Now, Taoism, you might think of meditation and peacefulness, but they also use erotic energy in their practices. And she was a student of a Taoist nun. The way she supported herself was as a dominatrix in New York City. And for many years, she was the highest paid dominatrix in Manhattan. What is a dominatrix, you may like to know? Well, I think in the movies, we see a dominatrix with like leather and boots that are thigh high and chains and some kind of a whip. But the main thing about a dominatrix is that she has the power and her clients choose to pay her to have the opportunity of having someone skillful, precise, masterful, loving, shameless, so that they can let go and surrender, trusting that they will be held. Because an excellent dominatrix knows what her clients want better than they do. So yes, there's some conversation and understanding of agreements, what's permitted, what's not ahead of time. But the most attuned, sexy, outstanding dominatrix is going to know what her client wants, and he might not even know it. So now let's get back to this book, Unbound. Kasia took the lessons from being a dominatrix and other experiences in her life and has articulated in the most compelling, relatable, fantastic way how women can take any kind of situation where they feel powerful or where they feel powerless, how you as a woman can use power dynamics, lessons from her time as a dominatrix, but not in any way having to do with sex unless you wanted to. But the point is that you can learn what she teaches about power dynamics and apply that to get your boss from stop harassing you, to navigate higher pay, to get your children to clean up the living room without whining or yelling or resentful emotional manipulation. Part of being a woman or a human in power means being profoundly connected and relational with the person you're interacting with, such that you have your attention on their experience without sacrificing your own experience. So one of the phenomenons or one of the skills that Kasia teaches in this book, Unbound, is how to distinguish when your attention is out and when your attention is in. And there are times when it's absolutely magnificent to have your attention in. For example, when you are lying back, you don't want your attention out. You want to have it in on your sensations. There are times when you are maybe planning a presentation. You want your attention in on what your experience is going to be, paying attention to your emotions and your sensations. And then there are times when you want your attention out, when you want it to be focused on the other person, speaking in declarative statements, being clear and not confused and ambivalent and receptive and unsure, but instead being very clear and very directive. And most men are raised in a way that has them understand how to behave in this manner. Why someone thinks he can just grab him by the pussy and do whatever he wants. It comes from behaving with attention out, dominating the situation. Well, if you have, for example, you're in a job interview and a man asks you an inappropriate question, You don't just have to answer. And you certainly don't need to feel that it's wrong, have it be jarring, have your emotions arise, and then try to figure out how to navigate your way out of it with your attention in because you're feeling offended and powerless. No, there is a way to take anything that comes at you and turn it around without being aggressive, to be in the position of power. One of the easiest ways to do this is to respond with a question. For example, your boss asks you something about your sex life. You might just be embarrassed and have your attention caught up on what your experience is. Or you may, through practice, learn to pivot and respond with a kind of strength and say, do you think that's an appropriate question to ask me? There is so much richness in this book, Unbound, and it pertains to your interactions with strangers, to your interactions with extended family and your social circle, and it certainly applies to your relationship and interactions with your spouse and with your children. So I'm sharing some of the things that really stick out for me. I don't consider this a proper book review, but I do highly recommend that you read this book. If there is anything in your relationships that you want to up-level, that you want to guide in a particular way and feel better, this book has so many great, great ideas about how to do that. And the link to get the book is right below. It's in the show notes. It is an incredible book that I highly recommend you read.